Hi there, how are you doing? So I often use these videos to create content in response to the questions people have been asking me. And today is no exception. One of the questions I often receive is, Steve, what is positive psychology? And people ask that question because I mention positive psychology in my posts. I mention it one-to-one or in group situations. I use positive psychology. I use mindfulness-based interventions in positive psychology. So it means a great deal to me in my world and in my work. Is it about thinking happy thoughts? You know, like Peter Pan, think happy thought, hang on a minute. Yeah, go on, right, okay, and I'm going to fly. Nope, it doesn't work like that. It's not about thinking about happy thoughts at all costs either. You know, I've seen posts around social media, think happy thoughts, think happy thoughts. Okay, that's positive, that's a good thing, but it doesn't always work. Think positive thoughts, no, it doesn't always work. It can't always work because there are things that get in the way of thinking those happy thoughts. So that is not what positive psychology is about. So what is it about? Well, it's a branch of psychology that focuses on the study and promotion of positive aspects of your life, human life. And that includes things like well-being, happiness, and flourishing. It's not the same as traditional psychology, where in the past that's often concentrated on diagnosing and treating mental illnesses and negative behaviors, also known as the disease model. Now, when I was trained as a psychologist, positive psychology hadn't yet arrived on the scene, although it wasn't very far away, given my age right now, right? Anyway, whatever. So I was very much so trained in this disease model where I was about treating mental challenges and so on. And I never felt comfortable in that world. So for me, when positive psychology came along and began to be introduced, it was a kind of blessing. So positive psychology seeks to understand and enhance the factors that allow us as individuals and communities to thrive. So let's think about a few key elements of positive psychology. There's well-being and happiness. Positive psychology aims to measure and improve subjective well-being and happiness. It explores what makes life worth living and how we can achieve a fulfilling and satisfying life. That's a great thing to do, right? Well, I think so. And then there are character strengths and virtues. In this field, it seeks to identify and cultivate personal strengths and virtues. So researchers in positive psychology have developed things like the VIA classification of character strengths in particular. If you're interested in knowing something about the VIA classification of character strengths, drop me a message in the comments, or you can send me a direct message if you like, and I'll send you a link because you can use that link to have a look at you, as will become clear in a moment. So this survey that I can give the link to helps people recognize and build on their innate qualities like kindness, creativity, and resilience. There's much more to it than that. So there is this online survey that is fantastic to complete because it gives you some great pointers about you, about your kindness levels, about your creativity, about your resilience. It's free. Let me know if you'd like a link. And then we get on to things like positive emotions and experiences. So positive psychology examines the role of positive emotions. Just pause for a moment. How many positive emotions can you think of? How many? I'm going to give you 3: joy, gratitude, and hope. There are more than that. How many can you come up with? So, as I said, positive psychology examines the role of positive emotions in enhancing mental health and overall well-being. It studies how these emotions contribute to a fulfilling life and how individuals can cultivate them through practices like mindfulness and gratitude exercises, for example. They are not the only examples. And then positive psychology is interested in optimal functioning. And in this field, positive psychologists have been investigating what enables people to perform at their best in various aspects of life. So those aspects would include things like work, relationships, personal growth. And then concepts like flow. Flow is a state of deep engagement and immersion in activities. And they're central to understanding optimal functioning. And then we move on a little bit and think about positive institutions and communities. Positive psychology goes beyond individuals. And in that, it examines how organizations and communities can create environments that promote well-being and positive development. It's a good thing, right? So this includes studying positive organizational behavior and leadership and the impact of supportive social networks. So overall, positive psychology aims to complement traditional psychology. It's not a challenger to traditional psychology. And it does this, it complements it by focusing on building strengths and fostering positive qualities. And that helps people like you and me and communities, broader communities, to lead more meaningful and joyful lives. There are some criticisms. There is research around that looks at where positive psychology needs to do better. And that's a good thing. It's good to be looked at. It's good to be examined. It's good to receive feedback, of course. So positive psychology has been a field focused on enhancing well-being and fostering positive aspects of human functioning. Sounds great, but it's currently, as I said a moment ago, it's navigating a number of significant debates and challenges. And one major area in particular concerns the integration of technology within positive psychology practices. Technology is a biggie, right? It's all around us. It grows at such an incredible rate. But critics have argued that the field of positive psychology has been too slow to embrace technological advancements like machine learning, digitalization, virtual workspaces, to name but 3. So the proposed solution, termed positive organizational psychology, POP 2.0, I like that one, emphasizes leveraging emerging technologies to create positive physical, virtual, and meta work environments. And in this approach, what they're doing is aiming to improve individual well-being, team collaboration, and organizational effectiveness by using data-driven methods and culturally sensitive practices. Whoa, quite complex, right? If you want to read about this stuff, I read about this stuff because it's important to me as an individual, but it's also important to me in my work. So I do need to keep up to date with what's going on in the field. So do message me if you would like to know more. We can always have a great conversation. I'm up for that anytime, so long as I don't have a commitment at the time we choose. So what's another contentious issue? Positive psychology seems to have been, according to some critics, Western-centric focused. And a lot of people have argued that The field often overlooks cultural differences and imposes Western values and norms on diverse populations. Well, that's not a good thing, right? And this critique highlights the need for more inclusive research and interventions as well that respect and incorporate local traditions and values. That is, I believe, that is where we need to be. We need to be looking at the whole of society. Just looking at Western society is not enough. It isn't enough. Let's think about education for a minute. In education, there is ongoing debate about the efficacy and implementation of positive psychology programs. Some critics have pointed out that existing research is often based on small-scale or short-term studies. And that raises questions about the long-term impact and the generalizability of these interventions. So the incorporation of positive psychology into school curriculums, for example, may come at the expense of other essential subjects due to limited resources. That's an interesting debate. I've heard that debate before in education in other subjects in the UK. Interesting. So the field of positive psychology also faces some scrutiny over the replicability and the robustness of its findings. Now, this is big, because if its findings aren't robust, it's not going to work, is it? There have been some accusations of over-promising results without enough empirical support. So to address this issue, it requires more rigorous research methods and a much, much stronger scientific foundation to validate the claims and interventions promoted by the field. I'm always very careful in my work that if I read some research, for example, and if the research is promising X, Y, Z results, I'm very careful to check out that actually that is what we can expect if this is followed in this particular way, whatever it happens to be. We have to look at the research very carefully. Ethically and economically, positive psychology's focus on happiness and well-being has been linked to potential benefits in the workplace, such as increased productivity. Cool, right? Increased productivity, reduced costs, particularly reduced costs associated with employee turnover and health issues. Yet, there is still a need for broader implementation and demonstration of these benefits on a much, much larger scale, because employers need to be convinced of the value. They need to know what the return on investment is going to be. I make a point with all the smaller companies that I work with to look at what their ROI, return on investment, will actually be. They need to know this stuff. And it's especially important in times of economic uncertainty. So overall, while positive psychology does continue to make studies in improving in individual and societal well-being, it needs to address these criticisms, and it needs to evolve to remain relevant and effective in this amazing, rapidly changing world. It will do that. It will answer the questions. So if you've got any questions, don't hesitate. Leave them in the comments, send a direct message, usual places, you know where to go. Do any of that stuff, and you will definitely get a response. Let's have a debate. Let's get this debate moving. It's a good debate. It's an interesting debate. Let's see where it takes us. Take care. Bye for now.